What's up, guys? We're here. Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to bring you an updated guide to the Widowhail Spark build that we have been working on and putting together, and just all of the changes that I've currently made for the build. We still have a long way to go, and I know I just butchered that fight. That fight was really fun. I just do a really bad job at like fighting the boss and doing the combo rotation with the soul offerings and stuff. But anyway, so today I'm bringing you an updated guide for Spark and everything that we're doing and changing, and then what we're kind of going to be pivoting into with some of the changes to the build, and try to really min-max this just a little bit for something different to Spark if you guys like the Widowhail and this kind of version of Spark, which is a little bit different than running the standard wand and focus. So let's go ahead and go into the build real quick and just talk about these gear pieces. We just got another fugitive wrap, which is fantastic, on a T4 Zesh, which is super cool. But yeah, guys, so we're doing Spark with Widowhail. So I had to get a lot of questions about how to use Spark with Widowhail. You guys can just use it. It's not a big thing. I only have 55,000 sheet damage, so I'm looking at trying to improve that. So I will say, as I go through this updated guide, if you guys have any suggestions that I can do for the build, please let me know down in the comments below. So we have Widowhail Spark here, so let's go ahead and break down some of the gear first. So we got Widowhail. All of this is going to come through here and just go through our quiver, which could be better, but we're going to go ahead and break this down. So Widowhail is going to be casting all the sparks. It's going to be giving us a big bonuses gained from our equipped quiver. So it's very important that you get as high as possible with your Widowhail. I have a 270. If you can get as close to 290 or 300%, you can. But I will talk about some math later to hit certain breakpoints, because every 50% in the Widowhail is going to increase our level in our spark, which is nice. That's, as far as I understand, it's every 50%, which is great, and just adds more levels, which is fantastic. I think my spark is actually level 29. We could definitely get it a lot higher. Now, this is where the change is a little bit different, because a wand and a focus can each give you plus levels to lightning skills or all spell skills, anything like that. So you can get it a lot higher. So I'm working on doing some swaps here, and I'll talk about those in a second. On the quiver, we want to pierce absolutely everything. So our quiver didn't change, guys. The most important stats is projectile speed and projectile skills, the plus levels, which helps us with spark. Our chest piece did stay the same with the spirit here, because we are doing a cast on shock variant here. It's very important that we can boost our shock chance and when we're casting spark, which is very, very important. So our chest piece did not really change, but we got to make sure that we have this 60 in spirit to cast on shocker, otherwise we won't be able to use it. Our helmet didn't really change too much. We did get a big increase here with the energy shield. You want to make sure that on your helmet, your chest piece, as well as your gloves and boots, that you have a huge amount of energy shield increase. Not only in the base, but in the stats as well, so you can get them really high. Other important stats for sure are going to be mana and intelligence. The mana per kill on here on these gloves is a very nice stat, because it allows me, when I'm mapping, just to be super, super, super easy. My mana should just never go away. So very important there. Of course, we have the everlasting gaze, which is nice. That's what's going to give me the very nice energy shield here, and just allows another layer of defense. But we are going to end up getting rid of this, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But for right now, this is really good. We did do one of the changes, which was adding lightning rod to the anoint, which just means that lightning damage with non-criticals is lucky. So what that means is, if we go over to our board here, we come down, we have lightning rod down here at the bottom of the gemlinging section. So is lucky. So lucky things are rolled twice, and the better result is used. So every time I hit twice with like a spark, it rolls twice, and each one, if one's 40, one's 50, I get 50 instead of 40 on the damage. Just as a basic example of how that works. The next big upgrade we did, which was we talked about in the previous video, was adding ingenuity to this build, which we had to take it off of our gemlinger. But we did use, because I only have one ingenuity, but we put it on here, and ingenuity gives the huge boost and increases bonus gained from equipped rings. So my prismatic ring you guys saw in the last video did not change. This is still a very, very strong ring. It's very, very good. I wish I could get a little bit more mana and cast speed, but for right now, it is very good. The last and biggest upgrade that we made to the build, which was Dream Fragments. This is about 85 to 90 divines on the market if you're playing Trade League. Otherwise, it is a open world drop, so you can find this anywhere in the game. We have a max roll on the mana, which is very important, and the cold res, which is really good. Excuse me. We didn't get a max roll on the cold res, but we got a max roll on the mana, which is the most important stat, because with the quality on there, so you use the catalysts that give mana, so we get an increased maximum mana of 24%, which is absolutely fantastic. The mana regen is good, and then we cannot be chilled or frozen. Fantastic. Right now we have 5,300 mana, which is very good. I'm working my way up to get this to 10,000 mana, so we can go away from like the Everlasting Gaze, and we can go away from that and just be a pure mana stacker, which would just be fantastic. So that was a huge upgrade for the build. And then, of course, the soul cores that we have is increased maximum mana on our boots and our gloves for even more mana. And then on our chest piece, we got the increased armor and evasion, same thing on our helmet. So that way you can see we have 5,300 mana, 3,600 energy shield as a layer of defense while rocking Mom, and we are Chaos Inoculation for CI, so resistances are capped, and we're looking very strong. So we added the Anoint to Everlasting Gaze, we added Dream Fragments, we added Ingenuity, which is huge upgrades to the build. Now let's go ahead and talk about the skills that we have here. Spark, again, you want to get this as high as possible. I have it at level 20 maxed with quality, 9 levels from global modifiers, so I'm really trying to change some things around here, and I'll talk about the changes that I want to do to the build, but I will be looking forward to your comments in the section, so that way you guys can give me some tips on how to improve this, because I was rocking this during the live stream, and there's some people that have DPSs way higher, at least on the sheet, and of course, I don't think all sheet damage is categorized with the quivers and the bows, I don't think, so maybe somebody can tell me that down in the comments. I just don't see it that way, but anyway, I just don't think it's calculated enough, but we'll see. I think I have to go into the POB to really see it. On Spark, though, we're doing Inspiration for the cost, Consider Casting for damage, Persistence, Arcane Tempo, as well as Acceleration. On Orb of Storms as another damage multiplier here, just to kind of throw some extra damage down. We have Lightning Exposure, Strip Away, Expanse, as well as Conduction. Archmage, one of our big scales here. This is very important that you get this thing to the breakpoint 100. This was another upgrade that we made from the previous video. So we did get a corrupted level 19 Spirit Gem of Archmage. So we get 1 from the corruption, which puts it to 20, and then we get 1 from Lightning Mastery. So very important here. The damages, or the non-channeling spells, gain 9% of damage is very important, because if we take off Lightning Mastery, we go to 8 damage because it's only level 20. Level 21 is the breakpoint to get it to 9%. I know it's only 1 more percent, but that is a lot of damage. It's very similar to this thing being qualitied and getting another 2%. So instead of it being 5, it's 7. That's a huge amount of damage, considering how much mana that we have. And if we can get up to 10k, it's absolutely insane. So make sure you get it to 21. Then we got our cast on Shock Tech here with Lightning Conduit. We got Lightning Pen, Concentrated Effect, Impetus, as well as Elemental Focus. Mana Tempest for just bossing there at the end. We got Premeditation and Murderous Intent. This did not change. Conductivity, our curse here did not change with Heightened as well as Focus. This just applies another curse just to help us with our damage. And then another tech that we did change, I'll take off the inventory here, is that when we cast our Sigil of Power here, which is going to scale our damage when we switch, puts this in here, and it's just gonna buff our damage up, as you can see. But we added Skeletal Warrior, so that way with Skeletal Warrior and Soul Offering, this will give us a nice big damage buff. So you can see that my damage is at, let me drop this down again. So you can see my damage is just at 62. I know it's low, guys. We're gonna do our best to increase it. But as soon as I press my M4, it's gonna give me a big boost in damage for 7 seconds. And then when we swap to Spark, we can just blast away and it's a huge damage increase, which is the combo you guys saw me at the beginning of the video. I'm not super great at it because I need to, this part is new, but it's such a damage boost when you're going against bosses. If you have such a super high DPS number, like if you're doing like 500,000 damage and then you pop that, you're going to be doing well over 1.2 million damage, at least on the sheet. So I want to get that up, but that is a very strong tech here. We got Soul Offering with Ablation as well as Dense Mac for just more damage. Then we got Skeletal Warrior. You don't need to do anything special with this. It puts this in here. Now, I guess what you could do is maybe add a rune that gives you more. I don't know if you could actually add a rune that gives you more into this. So that way you have more skeletons. That way when you pop this, you just get a longer timer. But you could do that. I don't know. I'll have to look into that. But for right now, this is just a nice little damage boost. Now let's go over to the tree, guys. The tree did not change much. Okay, the tree is pretty much the same from the previous video. Okay, we just finished out because we are level 91, so we were able to finish out our breaking point here for magnitude. And then we also finished out getting heavy buffer for more energy shield. So the tree is pretty much the same. I will tell you this, that we are going to be looking at changing the tree in the next video, so I definitely stay tuned for that. But all of this is the exact same. The two nodes that we added was heavy buffer as well as breaking point for the more magnitude, as well as the energy shield for more life and more mana. Now, the additions to the build is all of our gems. We finally got all of our gems for the build, guys. I don't remember this being in the last video. So let's go ahead and break down all the different corrupted gems because we are rocking an Adorned. So the first thing first is my Adorned is 66% increased effect of jewel sockets in the passive, containing corrupted magic jewels. So very good. So this gives all of our corrupted jewels a big boost. Now, for those who don't know, when you hover over this, it's going to give you your stats here. And then if you hover over the gold ring beside it, it shows you what those modifiers are with the Adorned increase. I had some questions about this, but just so you guys know. So we got more lightning res, increased chance to shock and magnitude of shock I inflict. Then we have same thing, critical spell damage bonus with magnitude of shock. Then we have increased maximum energy shield and skill effect duration. Skill effect duration is just going to allow our sparks to just hang around a little bit longer. Then we have increased maximum energy shield with skill effect duration. Then we got increased critical spell damage with magnitude. Of course, our Adorned. Then we have immune to maim, 8% increased spell damage, and recover 2% of mana on kill. This is just to help with mapping. Then we have chance to pierce with increased bonuses gained from quiver. I have 2 of these with the fire and intelligence bonus on here. Now, mine are only 13% out of 15, and max is at 15. And then with the Adorned at my current setup, I go to 21% increased. So both of these are 21%. So I end up going to 41%. And then with the leftover from my Widowhail, I end up hitting that next breakpoint. Remember, every 50% is an increased level. So we got 4 levels at 200%, 5 levels at 250. And then the leftover 22% gets boosted by another 41. So we end up hitting that next breakpoint. So for me, it doesn't make a big change to like go higher in my Widowhail. But if I did get a higher one, it would boost like the bonuses here for like projectile speed and stuff. So that's a nice enhance in damage. I definitely could get more lightning damage here. But that's the breakpoints that I have. Once I put this in the POB, I will see if I need to just change these jewels. So I will keep you guys posted on that. But yeah, those are the big changes to the jewels that we actually have, guys. So that is the build and the upgrades and the changes that we made to this. So now let's go ahead and talk about, one last thing here. We did go for these, all these nodes stayed the same with Strike Twice, of course, Constant Gale, and Force of Will. But I did go ahead and I've been doing Scurrying Winds. For exposure, you inflict that affect resistances by an additional 20%. So anytime we hit exposure, it just drops it more. This was originally, I believe, Heart of the Storm for elemental damage taken recouped as energy shield, because that really helps with our survivability to just regain and keep our energy shield high. But I wanted to test Scouring Winds, and it feels fine. Now, let's talk about gear and what I'm going to be going towards, guys, with this build. So I'm going to be going to a Grand Regalia setup with a normal amulet. Now, this amulet that I have now is just a placeholder. I'm not actually going to use it because it doesn't have one key stat on it, and that is the stat that says plus to all level of spell skills. So you can get a +2 or a +3, and that would furthermore increase our spark by another 2 or 3 levels, which in turn is more damage. Now, in order to use the cast on shock, I do need to have at least 30 spirit on here because my spirit is 190. So if I take my 60 spirit chest piece off, I'm at 130, and I can't use shock because shock costs 60. So I would need another minimum 30% spirit on here. So you see if I put this in, cast on shock works just fine, and that's 41. So I'm going for this because we want increased attributes. So another 5% in attributes per socketed soul core, which is going to give me more intelligence. So you can see if I just put this in here, even the one soul core that's in here is more intelligence, which is more mana, which is more damage, right? So that's huge. And then on top of the attributes, then we have the 5% increased maximum mana per socketed soul core. So if once we have all 4 in here, that's going to be similar to having another dream fragment, which is just going to stack our mana even crazier. It's going to be even higher. So we're going to go for this with a regular amulet that has spirit and increase to all spell skills. So once I get that one, then I would be making this swap just like this as an example, which will give me a lot more mana. Now, I know my mana is lower now, but that's because I don't have the soul cores in here. But what will be great is getting the soul core of Xalatal. Armor increases by 2%, increased maximum mana. So you know I already have 2 of these in here. So basically putting 4 of these in here is going to be another 2, 4, 6, 8% mana on top of that. Because right now my resistances are still capped. Like fire is down 2%, but I can fix that. It's no big deal. So having another 8% mana on top of the 20% increased maximum mana and 5% more increased intelligence per soul core, which is another 20% increased to my intelligence, is a huge amount of mana and a huge damage boost. So this is the changes that we're going to be going to, guys, at least just in our gear. All right, that's going to be the changes that we're going to make into our gear, which does mean we do lose Everlasting Gaze, so we will not have this additional layer of defense with the energy shield. But what I'm hoping is that once I get this all set up with these 2 gear pieces and having all of the mana, then my mana will be so high we can just run Mom no problem, and our mana will be so high it won't matter. So I'm hoping that that will get us up to around 8,000, maybe close to 10K as I can possibly get, because once I hit that breakpoint, it doesn't matter. Everything's just going to be dying, no problem. Now, what I do want to do is just real quick for the last portion of the video is I'm just going to go into maps here, and I just want to showcase a little bit of a map and just, yeah, this one's fine. And just showcase a little bit of the mapping. This build is perfectly fine. I'd rather not do one of those maps. Let's go back here and we'll just showcase this map here, which is fine. We'll come in and just do this with Breach. Now, again, I have all my stuff on here. For mapping, you don't need to do anything. All you're going to do is absolutely cast Spark. And for bossing, as you guys saw, the bossing rotation is dropping our Sigil of Power, which is going to boost our spell. You're going to, right before the boss spawns, you'll pop your skeleton, and then you'll curse and drop your Orb of Storms, and then you just start spamming Spark, and then the boss should just die. All right, for mapping, guys, pretty simple. You're just going to fly through and destroy everything with Spark. Now, for those who don't know, this is actually a really cool tech. My boots have 30% move speed on them. So instead of spamming, so you see how slow I move now, if you just tap it like every second or so, then you can move at your maximum move speed while casting Spark. So that way you're not moving so slow. You see how fast I'm still moving at my 30% buff. And the sparks are so strong, even at my very, very low sheet damage, like I just destroy this T15 with all these modifiers, no problem, right? Like I just absolutely destroy this. It's no problem. Same thing here. Everything just dies instantly. So mapping, even at the current state of this build or the one from the previous video, guys, is so strong. You'll be able to fly through T15s, T16s, no problem, and just rack up a bunch of currency to do the upgrades that I have in this build. So, but yeah, guys, that is Spark. I just wanted to go over the upgrades and changes that I made with Widowhail and just what I'm doing. I really enjoy this kind of version of Spark. It's just different than doing the wand focus. Now, what I will tell you guys is that wand focus is obviously going to be much stronger because you can get the plus levels up to 5 on the wand, and you can get another 2 or 3 on the focus. So overall, I think you can get somewhere to like 36, 38, 40 levels. So let's do Breach. Breach is super easy. You literally just fly through Breach. So wand focus is stronger, but I wanted to do something different, guys, and just use something that's cool. I like bow builds, so bows are just really fun. And what's better than just having Spark just fly through here and destroy absolutely everything. So yeah, guys, like the video. That would really help out the video in the channel. It'll let me know that you guys like to see more of this content. Again, guys, comment down below. Let me know if you guys can help me out and see if there are what other changes I can make to the build and things just to make my Spark just even stronger, especially against the bosses. Yeah, let me know down in the comments, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, stay gaming, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Oh man, destroyed that dude.